Hey ho, let's go. Hope everyone is well. Welcome to Pugsley's Pit, where there are no unwritten rules. I have not had enough coffee today. No unwritten rules, not here, not now, not ever. Anything goes, as we always do. We begin the show by asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here? Booyah! Right now. As always, welcome back to our valued listeners. Those of you who might be joining us for the first time, welcome to Pugsley's Pit, episode 91. I am Sean Pugsley Martin. This, of course, Mr. Mike Nelson, MD Nelly, Major League Baseball. We're getting close. Season openers less than 24 hours away. Nice. As Mike is wearing, National League Central is on tap today. You can follow the show on Twitter at Pugsley's Pit, taking the podcast on YouTube. Remember, hit that like button and subscribe icon and all that good stuff. So you can be alerted on future episodes. Later, pitch clock launch angle segment. The graphics department has been deeply involved this week. And for those of you college basketball fans, we'll give you our Final Four national championship picks, and so you can know who to avoid when you fill out your brackets.
Yeah, the kiss of death. Sorry, Greenberg, but it is what it is.
I actually had to change my Final Four because they were the same as yours, so I decided to redefine the term homer, but we'll get into that later.
When we get to that point, I have a very interesting tidbit to those that like to perhaps pad their vacation fund by using their tax refund.
Really?
To potentially wager, if that's what you're inclined to do, on such things as the Christmas of wagering, which is the NCAA tournament.
My guess is Mrs. Pugsley would not be happy if I wagered the Disney trip financials on.
What if it turned into 2?
You know what? You got to roll the dice.
What if it turned into 2? Plus, Disney's overrated, and this is a baseball show.
Yeah, it is. All right. Hey, let's go to the Windy City first.
Yeah, go Cubs, go.
Cubbies.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are going to win today.
I've been to Wrigley Field once. It was one of the greatest experiences ever. Also, Nebraska beat Notre Dame the next day in overtime, so it was a great weekend. But, yeah, Wrigley Field, the venerable Wrigley Field.
The venerable Wrigley Field.
It seems like it seems like the old style is going to be a little more celebratory than drowning their tears in sorrow this year.
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
You would think
they seemed a little ahead of schedule last year, right?
Yeah, they did.
And Cody Bellinger was phenomenal last year.
Let's start with Bellinger, okay? I tend to get squeamish on guys that get paid. Now, he got paid, but not for the length that he wants to get paid.
Yep, I agree.
Is he motivated still, or is he pissed?
Oh, I think he's always motivated. I don't think that's ever been a question with him. I just think he got in a swing rut and he couldn't get himself out of it. And whatever happened last year, he found it again. So the concern is there regression? Is there natural regression with him, or is he the MVP Cody Bellinger that we saw last year that everybody believes he is? And certainly the Cubs believe he is, or they wouldn't have paid him.
Yep. Where is this team? If this team wins a division, why? Is it I love Seiya Suzuki. He has gotten better his 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a division that's down for sure.
Well, look at Vegas certainly tells you that when
Justin Steele redo what he did.
Right. You're short of Imanaga as good as they believe he is, right? Can Kyle Hendricks do what he does, which is boringly win 12 or 14 games? Is Tyon okay?
Tyon, I think, is the guy that's going to, if he is okay, he's the guy I would bank on for a bigger season. I don't know how Kyle Hendricks still does it. Is 82-mile-an-hour fastball.
He's Greg Maddux light. Very light. But their offense is really good. I mean, they're going to score runs.
Yeah.
Michael Busch is a big key for them, and they picked him up in a trade with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers loved him. but he's moving from third base to first base and settling in. And if he is the hitter that the world thought he was when he was a hot prospect with the Dodgers, their lineup is going to be formidable. Right?
Well, it is. Nico Horner's a stud. He's underrated. He's without question. If he had a little more pop in his bat, he'd be a five-tool player.
They have a lot of underrated players, right? I think Ian Happ's a little underrated. He's a terrific player. Christopher Morel's underrated.
Yep. Dansby Swanson, too.
He's a switchblade. Or Lieutenant Dan, as Cody Bellinger calls him. I saw that this week, and it made me laugh. When he said he was coming back, he X'd him and said, "Lieutenant, I'm back." So he's obviously Lieutenant Dan. Their bullpen got better. I'm still not 100% sure if Vandalay Industries, as he was referred to in a recent draft, Alzolay is a good closer or not, but Hector Neris helps.
We'll find out.
It's a winnable division. It's a very winnable division.
It is.
And we'll explain why as we go along here. I don't think they're going to win the division because I think there's another team that's on the up and ascending even faster than them. But they could win the division.
Who might that team be?
I think that's the Cincinnati Redlegs.
By the way, their over-under is very low.
82.5. So the Cubs are 83.5.
Yep.
I'd say they go slightly over.
The Cubbies, yeah. 84,
the
85.
Reds are 82.5. I say they go marginally over.
Yeah.
I think 90 wins the division, right? That's probably the right number.
You think they'll need that many?
I'm not sure.
Just because the other three teams, we'll get to them. I don't see it. I think 86, 87. It's like the AL Central. 86, 87, I think could take this thing.
Yeah, it very well could. But I think unlike the AL Central, this is going to be a brawl. At least through the middle of the summer, I think this is going to be a little bit of a fist fight, with the exception of what I believe will be one team.
Now, just to aggravate you, Frankie Montas is going to take the ball and pitch about 180 innings. Very quality.
Yeah. He's going to be comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
he's going to be, Cashman didn't know what he was doing, letting him go. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Their young pitchers are fun, man.
They are.
Hunter Green throws missiles. Lodolo, Ashcroft, Abbott, they're all really good. They've got Nick Martinez for depth. They've got a deep rotation of young, on the up and up starters that if they click, the fact that they're going to score a zillion runs with that offense will be irrelevant because their pitching will be really good.
Well, yeah, and you talk about incoming class. Look at all the guys that have come up for them on the offense. McLean and Steer and Will Benson, and Friedel's not a bad player, and Ellie De La Cruz took over baseball for a time last year.
I know. And Encarnacion Strand, McNeil. I mean, you got to be Spencer Steer. You got to be pretty deep if you can weather one of your top prospects moronically flunking a drug test and getting suspended for 80 games.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jmar Candelario signing now looks brilliant, right? So, I mean, they'll get enough out of catcher, but man, their offense is fun. They're going to be a fun team to watch. I think where they could get in trouble, Alexis Diaz was really good last year. Every time Lucas Sims picks up the ball, I'm imagining everybody's going like this.
Yeah.
But they did add one of my favorite names in baseball, Buck Farmer, who in a baseball name game on the X last year, I started with him as switch the first and last the first letters of the first and last name of each player, and Buck Farmer became not Buck Farmer. So
interesting. You
very interesting. I think the Reds make the most sense to win the division to me, only because of what they have.
They're going to score a ton of runs, and that
They
that
are gonna
that
score.
division,
In
like I
that
said,
stadium,
it's winnable.
in that stadium, they're going to hit a lot of home runs in that stadium too. Man,
Yeah.
they're going to hit some. They're going to hit the ball.
Now, the team I'm really most interested in talking about this week is you're wearing the jersey, Roberto Clemente.
Yes,
Pirates.
73 Roberto Clemente, Mitchell Ness throwback jersey. Yes.
The Pirates seem like they're on the come. Last year they were good, and then the kind of dog days got to them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're over under 75.5. I think they'll be closer to 80 wins than they will be 70.
Yeah.
Who's going to pitch besides Mitch Keller and Paul Skeens will be up in a blink. I mean, Marco Gonzalez, Martin Perez. I mean, like there's 4 runs given up before they get a turn at bat when they're home. But but again, they've got young players that are phenomenal. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is my pick to win a National League Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, losing him last year was a soul crusher so early in the year.
Yeah, and he is dominating spring training. He is highly motivated. Jack Sawinski, they stopped screwing around with him.
Yeah,
he's solid. Henry Davis is going to settle in behind the plate because of the injury to Rodriguez. He's an exciting hitter. I mean, Ji-Wan Bae, Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds got a contract. I mean, they had Michael A. Taylor for defense and center. I think offensively they're pretty solid, right?
You know what I like about this group? They've kept Andrew McCutchen around, who's a icon in the franchise, to kind of lead the way and still give him some production, DH or whatever spot start in the outfield.
Talk about a guy that embodies the organization. It was sad when he left the first time. I mean, it was great. I mean, I'm a huge Kutch 22 fan. I'm such a big fan of him. He was so unbelievably good before injury started beating on him a little bit. And it was nice to see him on the Yankees. It was nice to see him on the Phillies, but he's back where he belongs. And he's embraced the role. Like he's embraced he's not old certainly, but he's embraced the elder statesman role and this is how you're a major leaguer and this is how you act in the city, all that, right? He's beloved in Pittsburgh. He always will be. I mean, I love the guy.
What I like about where the Pirates are going is I want the Pirates to be better. That stadium is beautiful. The only time I ever had a ticket to go there was with you years ago, and we got about 18 feet of rain the day before as I drove through it.
Yeah, we did.
Fortunately, the Huskers won that weekend too.
We saw a FedEx truck in the
Ohio River. We did, going right down the river.
Yeah,
and about $18 million worth of boats that broke free from the dock. As Joe Daly and Bill Callahan were leading the Huskers to victory that day.
My maybe my favorite stadium that I've ever been to.
What about the Pirate fan base? Talk about their fan base. They've been patient and they've been tortured, and I get that as an A's fan. But they deserve to have a team on the rise.
This is what I think should happen with Pittsburgh. Their idiot owner should go on Shark Tank before Mark Cuban retires and pitch. I've got an established organization with beautiful facilities and a whole new inventory of exciting players. And I'm looking for someone to invest in my business that will take 100% of it.
Yep.
And since Mark Cuban has all the money that he got when he divested himself from the Dallas Mavericks, and he's a Pittsburgh guy, if baseball wanted a guy like Mark Cuban, and they don't clearly.
They might want him now. He's mellowed a bit. They didn't want him years ago, 20 years ago, when he flirted with buying the Cubs.
I don't remember exactly think if he bought that team, he would mellow. He would go so all in with the Pirates. It would be awesome.
It would be great.
It would be awesome. He would go so all
he has
in.
mellowed. He has mellowed in the sense that he's not a thorn in the side of the commissioner as much as he was 20 years ago.
Well, I think he got sick of being fined.
Yeah.
But maybe he starts all over again. Maybe I would wish I would love it if he did. If he bought the Pirates and then was just a miserable pain in the ass to Manfred, he would be the favorite owner in Major League Baseball
He'd
from
be my
all of
favorite.
baseball fans, without a doubt. There'd be more Pirate fans crawling out of the woodwork than ever. Look, they're good. I mean, look, they're on the way. They have an elite closer. David Bednar is an elite closer. I mean, they're going to trot Aroldis Chapman out there at some point in time in August, and somebody's going to hit one across the river, and bounce it off the old igloo. I mean, that's what's going to happen, but it is what it is. And they have one of my favorite players because we have similar body styles in Rowdy Tellez. So you got to root for. Not only is his name Rowdy, but he is.
It's a plug for beer.
Is Portly the right?
Yeah.
Word? Yeah. The Iron City Light will be flowing. They'll be fun to watch. I hope people show up. I will be there at some point this summer. I will make a trip to Pittsburgh to see a game. And just because I love the stadium so much, but man, this is, the Reds, the Cubs, and the Pirates are exciting to talk about. And it's been a little bit.
All that work from the graphics department, and we finally get to it 16 minutes in.
And that's,
hey, look, I made them, right?
Look, it's do you want quality or content?
Yeah, right.
I'm
engrossed in conversation.
It's quality banter, and the graphics take away from our brilliance. And sometimes, you have to make a decision, right? I mean, you're trying to produce and participate at the same time, and
sometimes I just can't walk and chew gum.
No, I hear you. I have trouble breathing and standing up at the same time. Look, It's very simple. If we got 999,848 more subscribers, we could hire a producer because YouTube would be paying us.
True.
I mean, it's what would happen.
All right. Let's move on to the intriguing team to me, in a sense that when I read that St. Louis won 71 games last year and finished in last place, I'm just not used to it. You talk about great fans, a stable franchise. How did this happen?
That's a great question, right?
How did it happen?
Isn't that a great question? Because I remember when we were doing our predictions last year and we were participating in our predictions, over-under predictions last year. I mean, I couldn't pick the Cardinals to not go over because it was the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you get used to it.
And now I can't pick them to go over because now they're the new Cardinals. 84.5 are a number. They're favored to win the division with 84.5 wins. I don't think they sniff 84.5 wins.
I don't.
And their lineup's good, right? I mean, hopefully Mason wins the shortstop they believe he is, but man, they got a bunch of hitters in that lineup that are young. Jordan Walker's a stud.
They do.
Nolan Gorman,
I like the Sonny Gray signing, even though he's hurt.
So how confident can they be in Mason Wynn if they have to bring, if they bring in Brandon Crawford?
Yeah.
Right. So that's a little scary. I mean, they fixed, quote unquote, fixed their rotation with Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. I mean,
no, even Steven Matz, he's good for about 52 1/3 before he gets hurt. And they're counting on him in their top five. They're
two good starts, and then
one where he gives up guy.
Two decent starts, and then an inning and a third, 7 runs earned. That's Steven Matz. Helsley's a good closer. Gallegos is a good setup guy. I mean, they have the pieces. Wilson Contreras can play. I think they're going to regret extending Oliver Marmol.
Yeah. Here's their keys. Is Arenado going to get too old? Because he's teetering, right? He's still good. He's not what he was. Obviously, not what he was in Colorado, but he's getting up there. But can Jordan Walker take that step that everybody thought he was going to come in with the impact last year, which is hard to do as an unproven rookie with not a lot of minor league
right.
at-bats?
Well, if he does, they could. If he does, and that middle-aged to older pitching staff stays healthy and gets outs, they could be a surprising team because certainly they can score. I mean, they've got unbelievable defense on the corners.
Yep.
Unbelievable defense on the corners. And they got an all-time fielding third baseman as their third baseman who can still pick it. And they've got a Gold Glove quality first baseman. And the fans will show up. They'll draw 3 million. It won't matter if they win 70 games or 90 games. They'll show up. You know, they'll hang around. I just think they're gonna. After last year, which, you know, obviously surprised both of us, but certainly surprised the organization.
Yeah,
I don't see it. I mean, I see them finishing fourth.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's get to the last group, because is Milwaukee just a franchise that just gave up in the offseason? They didn't think they could get to the next level. They've won the division 2 out of 3 years. Woodruff is gone, though he's hurt. Burns, they traded.
Yeah, hopefully DL Hall is what they believe he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
mean,
know.
Wade Miley just gave up a homer getting out of bed. Devin Williams is hurt, so now they're going to bullpen by committee. They have terrific young players. Jackson Churio is going to be a blast to watch. They're trying Sal Frelick at third base in spring training because I think they're concerned about what third base looks like, and maybe last year's darling of spring training, Garrett Mitchell, before he got hurt, is ready to take the next step. I mean, they signed Rhys Hoskins. That was their signing. Not bad, right? Not bad. He's a solid player.
Yeah.
You know, they bring in Gary Sanchez and Jake Bowers. Who cares, right? Who cares?
Yeah, the other Jackson Churio, they got him signed up for a long time. You know, he's number 2 prospect in baseball. I think they've probably gotten the best out of Yelich. I don't know if he can reproduce what he did last year.
Probably.
I always get skittish on guys with back injuries because those never really seem to go away.
Willie Adames is what he is. Bryce Terang is a nice little sleeper fantasy pick this year, I think. He's a nice player. So, where they're young, they're good. Where they're young, they're good. They produce some really good offensive prospects.
Yep.
But, I mean, how are they
going to get out? Lost Craig Counsell, too.
Well, now we'll see, right? We'll see. I mean, now we'll see. I think Craig Counsell is a tremendous manager. I mean, you're going to find out. They're going to find out, 85 miles south, that he is a good manager and that they should have never let him go.
What I just don't get is I don't know what their attendance looks like, but you win 2 out of 3 years. You got a top end guy in Peralta. You pair him with Burns. All right, Woodruff is hurt no matter what. So he's gone. That's okay.
Right.
Hauser is a serviceable 4th or 5th guy. He's going to kill you some nights. He'll keep you in some games.
He's a Met.
Yeah, I know. They let him go. And it was like
it's Chris Rea.
My point is, I thought they had an opportunity to keep it going, especially in this division.
Well, yeah, you have Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. Hader and Williams.
He's not hurt again. He's not going to pitch this year.
I know, but this is what they went from, right? So they went from Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta with Hader and Devin Williams setting them up to this pile of schlub that they've got as a pitching staff now. And their best pitching prospect, was kind of a B player in the Corbin Burns deal. He wasn't in the Orioles' top 10 prospects.
Yeah.
Now they like him, but it's a lot of pressure on a kid that's going to be relied on to be most likely end up being their 3rd starter.
I just don't get the mindset, given that you saw the Phillies and the D-backs squeak into the playoffs, get hot, make it to the World Series, and they had 2 top-line starters in it for a short series with Burns and Peralta.
Yeah. Yep. They didn't hit. That's for sure. When the offense goes cold, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then basically look like we can't get over the top. We're just going to punt.
That's what I don't get.
I don't get
because
it
it's
either.
hard to get back. It's hard to get back up there.
They're 76.5, and
Under.
I would agree. I would agree. I think if they win 70, it's a good season for them this year.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Let's go to predictions. You can lead off.
Yeah, so I go Reds, Cubs, Pirates, Cardinals, Brewers.
Okay, I got we're
think there's a
close.
big enough gap between the Cubs and the Reds that it's really, I think that's who's going to battle.
I think the Reds will be a game better. Call it 86-85. St. Louis third, but that's St. Louis, Pittsburgh. You can interchange for me. To me, they're the same. They'll be within a game, just like the Reds and the Cubs. And the Brewers, I think they're just ticketed for last. They have a couple of nice players, but you look at even some of the younger guys, even on Pittsburgh, and St. Louis brings more to the table, and then the top two teams, obviously.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's kind of just sitting out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not Harvey's wall bangers anymore. That's for sure.
No.
Maybe they can bring Pete Vukovich out of retirement to throw a start every once in a while. That probably might be better than what they're trotting out there.
You get Raleigh back in the bullpen too.
You could.
And his mustache.
All
right, your call today. What's next? Pitch clock launch angle, or you want to go to the Final Four brilliance?
Let's go pitch clock launch angle, and then we will go to our brilliance, where we make people money, and likely make the big fella from Massachusetts extraordinarily happy with our national championship pick.
Maybe so. All right, you are up this week, and here is the clock.
All right, the umpire's giving me the ball, and here we go.
Have at it.
Well, only one team in this division is going to make the playoffs. We've already pretty much decided that. Cubs play exciting baseball, make a big move for pitching at or near the deadline, but fall just short. The Reds are the most exciting team in baseball offensively. Will Benson breaks out big time. Reds win the Central. The Pirates challenge for a large stretch of the season, but not enough pitching to stay in the race. Paul Skeens will be a top 3 for Rookie of the Year in the National League. The Brewers sink like a rock, finally trade Willy Adames, try to trade both Peralta and Yelich, and they go full youth movement and reset the clock. The Cardinals, by May 1, they will regret giving Oliver Marmol a 2-year extension. He gets fired. All tradable vets are open for business. They could be a last place team.
Yeah. I
can't believe I just said that about the St. Louis Cardinals.
I know. It's shocking to say that. So, here's my challenge. I don't know which one to launch. I think I agree with most of these. If anything, the Pirates, you say large stretch of the season, I'll give them early August, but I think they're going to be very improved. The Reds, the Cubs, we'll see. I think if I had to launch one, I would say that I think you could get 2 teams in here if things break right.
Well, they really have to.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about the NL West this year with having more than one. That's where I think it's going to come into play. So maybe that'll be it. Maybe the Cubs can sneak in, but I think the Reds get in. And I'm actually, this is a division. I don't know why. I'm always intrigued to watch their games. The Pirates, the Reds, the Brewers, all of them, the Cubs. And the Cardinals, I've never been a big Cardinal fan, but I like watching games where there's actually people in the stadium. I watch too much Oakland A's baseball.
Yeah.
And so the enthusiasm that the people in St. Louis have is admirable. And quite frankly, I'm jealous. So that'll be
history. A lot of the history of baseball, and most specifically the National League, sits in this division.
Yeah.
At least with 4 of these teams that have been around, since if not the turn of the 20th century, shortly thereafter. I mean, you've got incredible, long-standing tradition with historic names sprinkled in and out of these organizations that make this a very intriguing division. It really does. It's always fun to watch. It always seems like it's good baseball. I mean, when I was a kid, it was a Saturday game of the week. It was always one of these teams.
In the cookie cutter stadiums.
In the in the toilet bowls without the handle.
Yeah, right. All right. NCAA bracket time. This area is absolutely going nuts with the very real possibility of South Carolina and Iowa women coming here for the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. LSU, they're talking sellouts all the way, and the price to see Caitlin Clark is going to be Disney-like.
I know you got a potential LSU Iowa matchup in Albany.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, my phone's on. If the sports editor for the paper I write for, if I'm needed next week, I'm ready to go.
So. Man, that'll be fun. I mean, it'll be great for the area that that women's college basketball is going to get a good look. There's some good women's players up there, but I mean, it's good. It'll be good for the area.
Sure.
Especially that matchup. I mean, the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese experience could be unbelievable, man. That could be.
No, I read this morning MVP Arena general manager Bob Beller said they expect 14,000 plus each rotation. So
good
that's
for them.
Awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, I'm hoping to get the call. All right, men's Final Four. We'll let you go first.
Yep.
Age over beauty. Here's Mike's Final Four. Have at it.
My Final Four is the UConn Huskies, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, the Houston Cougars, and I think finally Purdue gets over the top.
Now you are the guy, because I've been there. You're famous for the daily doubles with a 3-1 and a 2-1 shot. So
yeah,
Mr. Chalk. And I'm only busting your stones because this was my Final Four until I just decided it's only happened once that all number one seeds make it. And two, I didn't want to have the same Final Four. So
right.
I can't argue with it. That was my first thing. Purdue's the interesting one here. And I wanted to take them out so many times, but I didn't. And that's, to me, I kind of look at it when Virginia got beat in the first round, when they were a top seed, they won it the next year. So Purdue learned a lesson.
It happens. But I did hear yesterday that, and the head coach's name escapes me because this is a baseball show, not a basketball show.
Matt Painter.
They have never advanced past the Sweet 16 in his 8 years as a head coach.
That's a problem.
That's not good. It's not good. But, and I always have a, I don't know why. I mean, I always feel like the Big Ten's overhyped in basketball. I think when they get in this tournament, and I'm always wrong. Like you get through the first weekend and all their teams are still playing.
Yeah,
like it's just I'm always wrong. But I don't watch a ton of Big Ten basketball this year. I did watch UConn a lot. I did watch North Carolina a lot. I don't think I love North Carolina. I really do, and I would love nothing better than for them to win this thing, but UConn's too good, man. They're too good.
Yeah, they're tough.
I mean, if they don't repeat, to me, it's an upset. I mean, they're just too good. They beat you every way possible.
Yeah, so I got to see them last year in Albany, the regionals, and be at the pressers, and then Danny Hurley's an impressive guy.
Oh yeah,
he's an impressive guy leading that program.
Yeah, he'll have his lucky underwear on and all his little weird little things that he goes through.
It's an odd tidbit to throw in, but you do you.
He's fiery. They're so deep, right? I mean, talk about a team that's deep. And they get a guard to transfer from Rutgers. He's off the charts good. Their guard plays phenomenal, which is really important. And watch out for New Mexico. Watch out for New Mexico. They could make a deep run.
They're favored in that game.
They're going to win that game. Watch out for New Mexico. New Mexico could make it to the Elite Eight very easily. Watch out for New Mexico. So here's the stat that I heard yesterday, which is a really interesting tidbit, and it's going to require math by our listener. But here's the stat. Of the last 22 national champions, 21 have had a stat that's an under 50 rating of offensive efficiency combined with where they are as a defensive team. So I'll use UConn as an example. UConn is 24th in the country in offensive efficiency. They're 10th in the NCAA in defense. That's 39. There are 9 teams that fit that criteria. The 4 that I have in the Final Four: Duke. Now I got to think. Marquette, Creighton. So 3 teams in the Big East, and Marquette could very easily get.
They were the team when I first did my brackets, I had Marquette in over Purdue.
Yeah, they could easily beat Purdue.
Yeah,
they're a tough team. They can't beat UConn though.
No.
They've tried it every way possible. They can't do it. So like that's the stat to look at as you're doing. If you haven't filled out your 80th bracket yet, that's one to consider, is to look that up as the teams that are under 50, under a total of 50 in defensive rating and offensive efficiency being under 50. But it's 21 out of 22 national champions have fit that criteria.
Okay.
That's a pretty good stat.
Speaking of national champions,
what do you got?
All right. So look, I'm a homer. All right. Pretty clear. I didn't know until this year Nebraska had a basketball program. I've been a Carolina fan forever. Huskers football is big, but I had Houston in there, and I'm like, you know what? Let's have some fun. And I'm never right anyway.
Yeah.
UConn, I think, has a clear road. Carolina, I love them. They scare me a little bit because sometimes they just don't play the way they're supposed to in the big spot. I don't care about the loss to NC State. They had nothing to play for. They were in the ACC final. They're getting number 1 seed. Who cares? I think they're going to get there. I'm going to pick the Huskers just to pick them. And by the way, you talk about the NCAA selection committees for the men and women. Trev Alberts announces he's leaving for Texas A&M. Everybody, including me, is jacked in affiliated with Nebraska, and they're pissed that the guy's got his name up on the stadium retired jersey and he leaves.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, somehow Nebraska is playing Texas A&M, not only in the first round of the men's, but also the women. So
really?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty
I'm sure it's just random, but
of course it is.
That's why Matt Rule, good for him. He was actually disappointed. He goes, yeah, now the talk is, instead of the focus on the teams, that's in the conversation, which is unfortunate. So I'm going to go with the Huskers, and also because it allowed me to pick them over Duke, which would upset Mrs. Pugsley, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Married a Duke fan. My questionnaire was incomplete when I did that. And I'll go with the Boilermakers just because I think that they're driven by that first round loss last year. We'll see, but that's what I think.
Who's your sleeper Elite Eight team?
That's a great question. I think you might hit the nail on the head with New Mexico. That's a real possibility because I don't like the optics with Clemson. I'm rooting for him, for Joe Girard, who's from here. But yeah, that seems to be the hot team. And the one upset that I'm kind of drawn to is I like possibly Grand Canyon to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Drake. I like Drake over, I think it's Washington State. And the reason I say that is I saw Drake's first round game last year, and the name escapes me. The coach's son he had just a brutal game in a game they barely lost to Miami. I think they come back, and I think they pull the first round upset too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with Drake. I definitely agree with Drake. The challenge I have with New Mexico would be my sleeper team because of their guard play. There are a lot of people picking Arizona to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. They're the last team to win from the Mountain and Pacific time zone in 97, which I find odd.
What?
Yes.
Didn't Gonzaga win?
Nope.
Didn't Gonzaga win a national championship?
I don't believe so.
The Zags could make some noise in this tournament.
Or they could lose early.
Or they could
I don't think they're the Zags.
Or they could lose in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think they're the Zags of before.
Mark Few's never not made it to the Sweet 16 ever.
Oh, and by the way, before I forget, if you go on Twitter and you see the hashtag Duke sucks, chances are that's me.
Yeah, could be me too.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it.
The greatest day of my life if the Catamounts pulled off the 13-4 upset in round one. They won't, but boy, would it be fun.
Vermont's sneaky good, though. Be careful of that.
Duke, Wisconsin's going to be a good game. There's some teams that are playing really well. Illinois is scary. Alabama's scary.
Yeah.
The scary matchup for me with North Carolina is Mississippi State because they're basically the same team. They play the same style.
But that's if they can get by Michigan State. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a sleeper team. It just came back to me. Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
Win the play-in game over Colorado. Catch fire at the right time. Knock off South Carolina.
That could happen.
Yep.
That could absolutely happen. So they got healthy at the right time.
Yeah, possibly Creighton too. I don't put too much stock in them. So yeah, watch out for them.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's the greatest time of the year.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better. And then as soon as it's over, they'll be playing real baseball. While it's going on, we'll be watching real baseball from the East.
Yes, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. What?
Get your coffee ready. No, I think it's at 6.
Good God.
If it's at 4 a.m., I woke up at 3:16 this morning and now I can go back to sleep. So if that happens to me tomorrow, at least I'll have something to do.
Yeah. Just a heads up. Tomorrow I start rooting against the Dodgers heavily.
Oh, wait a minute. We're not done yet. National championship pick.
It's UConn.
The graphics department just redeemed itself.
I know. Look, we got sidetracked again.
It happens. You got UConn. I'm going to keep up my homerism. Carolina over Purdue.
I'd be thrilled. I'd be thrilled for Armando Bacot, who had the greatest line, who had one of the greatest post-game interview lines I've ever heard in my life when he set the ACC record for double-doubles. And they said it to him, and he goes, "Hey, I've been in college a long time."
Now, I do have a bracket in our bracket pool, and I'm that is picking the Huskers just because they're the only. I read this morning. They're the only Power 5 program to never win an NCAA tournament game.
Really?
Yes. So on Friday at 6:50, I believe, we erased that, and I'm saying we with the Huskers. Again, I've been a Carolina fan for a long, long time, but I've enjoyed following the Huskers and our guard, Mr. Tominaga, who, if they can win a game and then possibly beat Houston, the guy's going to become a legend in this tournament. I don't like the draw. I kind of wish we hadn't gotten the 8 seed, but that's okay.
Yeah. Or they could lose in the first round, and
you
could go back about your day.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Or following Nebraska softball and baseball.
No, football. We're a football school.
When?
This year.
No, you're a volleyball school. You're a volleyball school. That's what you are.
Volleyball program is real good.
Yeah,
it's real good. What they get about 118,000 people for that game last year.
I know. For volleyball.
No, we're a football school. The Huskers will win. I'm going to say 4 out of the 5 next national titles. That's the expectation.
You guys seem to be Nebraska seems to be on the cutting edge. As sports emerge, they embrace it, like volleyball. So maybe the Nebraska paddleball team will surge.
All right, we shall see.
We'll surge. Can you imagine suggesting to somebody in Lincoln, Nebraska, let's go play pickleball? Holy cow.
No.
They're very nice people there, but I don't see them as a pickleball crowd.
So next week, NL West, we will have 2 MLB games under our belts then. Two fantasy baseball drafts before next week for you and I. NL West next week.
Yeah, probably if you're one of the 7 Colorado Rockies fans that still exist in the United States, you maybe want to skip the last 15 minutes because
when your over-under is only 2 games separate from the Oakland Athletics, who are trying to lose.
Yeah, your owner's happy with that.
That's bad.
That's That's really
That's bad.
really,
That tells you have a problem.
they got an ownership problem there too. That's
All
another.
right.
That'll be a show. We'll do an owner show. That'll be fun.
Oh, we can do that. We can do an owner show. I have no problem with that. And here's
You
my
can
graphic.
rate the owners 1 to 32.
Sell.
It's
Sell
getting
the-
uglier. It's every week that we meet here, there's more interesting developments that lead me to believe that this thing is going to blow up.
It is going to blow up. They are more apt to end up in Salt Lake City than they are Oakland. Although I saw something from the Salt Lake City whatever political group saying they want to talk to the A's, but they have to get promised that John Fisher's going to spend money when they get there. Ha!
Yeah. Oh, he'll promise
Take
anything.
down Salt Lake City. That dude ain't spending money ever. He's going to take it. He's a grifter.
He'll promise you that he'll spend money, and then he'll lie right to your face.
Right to your
face. You know they would look good if they're going to have to move? La Belle Provence. Bring back Les Expos.
No. That dude's never the day they put a shovel in the ground in Vegas, and I don't think it's going to happen. But if that ever does, he's going to try and sell the team immediately after that. He can't get funding for a stadium. He can't get anybody to invest. He sounds like a politician I know that owes the pretty large check. To me, they're the same ilk. Those two assholes. So not that we're trying to go political on here, but I call it like I see it.
Maybe Jeff Bezos will buy him, and then the Gap will have a resurgence, and the Gap will become Gapazon, and they can blend it with Amazon.
John Fisher needs to return Joe Lacob's call and sell him the team so he can build the stadium in Howard Terminal and keep the A's.
Just like Dave Cavall needs to return your call.
Dave, what a piece of shit. That guy's gutless. He still hasn't blocked me, though. Again, I'm on a mission. I'm trying, but
he probably finds you humorous.
I am funny.
I'm
funny.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, my friend.
Sure. All right, man. On that note, we will cash our
check. Go. Smash the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Get ready for the tournament.
It's a fun time of year.
Go Padres.
All right, man. We'll see you.
See you next week.